Hi, everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking about too much self-awareness. So, are you confident or clueless? What if your greatest weakness isn't a lack of skill, but it's too much self-awareness? I recently had someone share that with me in a coaching session. So, let's talk about imposter syndrome and the kind that hinders high performance and quietly sabotages leadership. Let's talk about the hidden cost of self awareness. I was speaking with a friend recently, and not just a talented friend, but someone who is credentialed, connected, and respected in her field. And she went to a conference and was in a room full of really impressive people. Most of them were from very large organizations, and it was an industry specific topic. She finds herself sitting at the table and suddenly shrinks back. She was told as they started the day that they were each going to lean in and introduce themselves and give their opinion on a very specific topic. In that moment, her self-awareness became self-doubt. She questioned whether she belonged, despite the fact that she brought a different lens, one rooted in real-world experience that they didn't have. She was that outside auditor that went to each of their different facilities, and she was able to actually be an expert where these other people could not be. Her perceived difference was actually her value, but imposter syndrome told her to hold back. And she actually lost the opportunity to shine. That's a case where being overly self aware brings on imposter syndrome and it actually sabotages your leadership. What happens when the opposite happens? And it's just as dangerous. So let's flip the script. Recently, I sat with a group who believed they had all the answers. It was a middle management team, and they dismissed their leader's input. They felt that they had enough experience between them, 20 plus years, only in that same job, and that they thought they had outgrown oversight. And the reality is that confidence left unchecked was actually hindering the growth of the organization. Their confidence wasn't actually earned, it was unchecked. And the truth, the organization was stagnating. Their bravado masked their blind spots, and their lack of self awareness was actually creating a bottleneck. So let's call this a sort of leadership trap where imposter syndrome isn't always insecurity. Sometimes it's insight misinterpreted. Leaders with deep self-awareness can see their gaps, but they also can forget their strengths. They so tuned in to what they don't know that they lose sight of what they do know and where they can add value to a situation and what uniquely brings them to the table. Meanwhile, those with too little self-awareness can bulldoze forward unaware of the impact and the fallout that they leave behind. They confuse authority with accuracy and treat confidence as a credential. Here's the trap. Self-aware leaders pause out of caution. Unaware leaders press forward with ego. And both risk stagnation to the organization. It's not about confidence or humility. It's about discernment. True leadership is knowing when you do belong and when you actually don't know everything. See how the two balance each other out? So what do you do about it? I call it the pause. If you've ever doubted yourself in a room full of smart people, pause and ask yourself, is this fear or is it humility? If it's humility, that's a good thing. Remember, were you invited for a reason? Your perspective is power. What unique perspective are you bringing to that situation? And if you stop listening because you think you've overgrown the organization, maybe it's time to hold up the mirror and start to ask yourself some tough questions. Are you truly self-aware? Are you self-managing yourself in the situation? And are you leaning into social awareness? Self-awareness isn't just seeing yourself clearly, it's acting on that clarity. So whether you're holding back too much or holding on too tight, both can keep you stuck. Leadership requires humility, courage, and the wisdom to know what you don't know, and the willingness to learn from others and lead even in a position of uncertainty. The room doesn't need perfection, it needs your presence. You're there for a reason. What is your reason? If you've liked this video, please click the button to subscribe or go visit the website or LinkedIn.